Hello everyone and welcome to SLIN After Dark episode 8 take 2. The first half, well the first take that we did, we did the POV of Indust through the first half ish of a match, and what I found was that it wasn't quite as interesting as I hoped it would be, and so I'm going to try something different. I'm going to do a top down third person view instead and see if that makes it any more interesting, and if it's so what you're watching is a match between IT, the number 1 team in North America by seed, and Mixup, the number 2 team by seed in North America. This is a week 4 match from season 15 on Metalworks, and we're going to be watching from the POV of IT to see how they do in this match. And again, we're going to watch the second half only. Going into the game, the score is already 2-1. IT's in the lead. It was a very close back and forth first half. And yeah, let's check out. And I just realized I did skip past halftime, so let's skip past halftime here. that is a cameraman difficulty is what I would describe that as. That would be a very poorly done demo. And anyways, while I let it go and you hear the sound of TF2 in the background, I want to remind you guys that I haven't seen this demo before, and if I have, it was a long time ago. So I might not know everything that's going to happen, but hopefully I can just give an overview of the strategy from the teams. And I know what you're looking at right now. You're looking at these wolves, and they're cute. And also it's freezing cold wherever they're at, and I'm living in Northern California where it's not as cold. It's only 40 degrees here, so 40 degrees Celsius. I know all you Canadians are probably thinking, whoa, it's freaking hot there, but no, 40 degrees Celsius. Okay, getting back in the game. It's still paused. Alright, we'll just aha, here we go. Alright, second half it is. So now we're going to try this top-down view, and we're going to watch from IT's perspective, heroes. And, okay, so what you're going to instantly notice is that RR decided to take the low ground, and Seagull took the high ground. And it's not a huge deal, but the height does give Seagull a slight advantage over Zalox. Sorry, did I say RR? I meant Zalox. Zalox is on the low ground. And, you know, Devilman can shoot upwards and keep it even, but Seagull's sticky is basically going to be in a better position, and also Seagull's going to have a better position to look down at the enemy players that he's going to be shooting at and deny that lower right door. So you can see that IT are coming at the lower end, and RR instantly going to bomb and try and push Seagull off of that high ground, push him into a corner, and lands an early rocket there onto Harblue, and I really like what he did. He's also doing a great job of taking ground and distracting the enemy team in such a way that he's not only zoned out both the Demoman and the medic at the top right of your screen, but he's also putting one rocket onto 3 players on the stairs. And that is an excellent play by RR. You can see that Mixup are completely focused on the roamer. That's exactly what you want from that kind of play. What IT need to be doing at this point is following up and pushing on that. You're going to see them now coming off the low ground. Even though RR goes down, he put his team in a very good position, scouts up on the high ground, Zalox Wing and throwing stickies there. Mixup are completely zoned out. They have 3 of their players in their upper lobby. They only have 3 players in the fight, so it's essentially a 5-on-3. And you can see they're playing tightly together with the heals. Unfortunately, Seagull just goes huge with a pipe, and now the tables have turned. And so Mixup are going to come back in with the health. Lansky doing a desperation bomb, and typically the desperation bomb comes when you know you've lost the middle and there's no way for you to escape, and Lansky was just in a position where not only could he bomb the medic, but he was also caught in. So he goes in there, and the rest of the team have evacuated, and that was Zalox, the last player for IT, is gonna get caught out here by TLR. So nicely played there by Mixup. It looked good at the beginning for IT. It looked good for them. You know, they had a situation where, yeah, Azelx on the low ground against Seagull, but RR did a great job pushing him out, pushing out the enemy medic. But I think one of the problems that we saw for IT on that middle was that they backed up for their health pack and just gave the enemy too much ground there and made RR's bomb a solo bomb rather than a distraction play for the rest of the game. Because they didn't capitalize on that, Mixup were able to play the heals and push back in, and Seagull's huge pill there actually turned that. Back to the game. Even Ubers, approximately even numbers. Mixup are going to have better numbers and also better players. You see Seagull's alive, Zalox is dead, so Demoman advantage as well. And Mixup just going to roll right in here and zone him out. And IT are in a pretty rough spot. Again, our heroes, IT cannot defend this. You can see that they have a sniper, RR, on the left side door there, trying to get an angle onto the enemy medic, onto the point, but he's not really finding that angle, and you can see Mixup completely stacking that ×5, and there's absolutely no way that IT in their current position can find their way in. They're all stuck behind doorways. The closest person to the fight is Banny here, you see in front of us, and he cannot push into 4 players there, so he's going to have to just give that up for free. And now we're in this even Uber scenario that we've seen so many times. And again, I'll draw your attention to this like I did in part 1, which I'm probably not going to publish, but Metalworks is the map, and it has an extremely large last point. So there's typically 2 types of last points that you'll see in TF2. You'll see small last points like Badlands, or you'll see large last points like Granary, Metalworks, Snakewater, and I think large last points are sort of more in style right now. But with a large last point, it's a lot of space to work with, and if you think of everything like a currency, like if you think of Uber as a currency, and health and numbers, and if you think of those as like currencies that you exchange with other people, then I would count territory as one of the most important currencies, and that you can exchange territory for just about anything, for spawn timers, for just stalling, getting an Uber up, or forcing an Uber and then having a better Uber of your own. So what's really important here is the way you're seeing that IT is playing, that they're playing up at the doorways, taking as much territory as they can, and then when Mixup does do their push, they can try and force that Uber as early as possible and kite that all the way back to their last point behind the wall. So right now, Mixup are going to try and poke their way forward. They're going to try and take away that territory from IT, but it's going to be difficult to try and wrench it away from them. You see Nice doing a great job just jumping around, trying to scout out which way the enemy combo is coming from. And he's trying to find the combo so that way they can force that Uber as early as possible, right? Try and hit Harblue and get that Uber force, and then they can come back with their better Uber. If you don't know which way the enemy combo is coming from, it makes it much harder to try and force that Uber early on. See, looks like they're running the patented Enigma engineer play on the stairs, and this makes it extremely difficult for IT to push out, because you have to push out into a level 2-3 sentry. You can see our turns of frag. Yeah, against the engineer, you have to basically push out into a level 2-3 sentry, and then so not only making it past the traps and the Uber and then the sentry, and then they have this teleporter that Enigma puts that you can just teleport someone in, and it works really well on maps like this because the second forward spawn is so far away that the teleporter counteracts that and brings players into the fight sooner. So RR turns a frag, and you're going to see him peek the lobby here and go for a second one. Again, 6-on-5, you always go to sacrifice a player, because you might turn a frag that way. And if you don't, it's no harm done. But it looks like they might get one onto Squid. Oh, Squid down to 21 health. Really nicely done by him. So again, even Uber's holding close to the doors. You can see that IT knows where the... Oh, this is an annoying sound. IT knows where Mixup combo is. Mixup combo is on the left, so they're going to come to the left side and try and force it over there. Now that they don't know where Mixup combo is, they have to back off of that. Now I know what you're saying. What do you mean you don't know where Mixup's combo is? They're clearly there on the left side. You just saw them on there on the left side 2 seconds ago. How could they be on the right side instantly? You're not worried about the instantly part. You're worried about the random roamer that might flank you off of the right side. You have to account for all of the potential threats. And if you push up that left side and see everyone in front of you. If you count all 6 members in front of you, that's great. But if you don't see all 6 members in front of you, then you might be in a bad spot because someone might flank you off the right side and then get an uber force easily. So that's why they back off behind the wall. They also have to be worried about any potential off-classing that might be coming in from it. So you see them playing far back. Again, they want to take the ground. They want to hold up against the doors, but they have to play back until they can be sure that all the doors are safe and that they have good health. Once they know that they have the good health, they can hold up at the closed door here. You can see them playing up at the shutter. A risky play, but they get that uber force early, and that's exactly what we talked about. Getting that force as early as possible. And now when this uber comes in from IT, look at the way they collapse on this. They take down Platinum. Uber's forced by Platinum, but they get 1 frag. They just need 1 more frag to create that 6-on-4 that's going to allow them to push and take this point. But that Enigma Sentry is so dastardly. Plus the trap, plus the pressure coming in from Seagull. They can't get this. So I think the unfortunate part there for IT was that Indust ubered on the point. And the point, as you can see, is really far away from the shutter door, so they couldn't get a close enough uber. If they ubered at the shutter door instead, they wouldn't be able to take out the sentry with the uber. Weren't able to. So now we're back into the reset stalemate position. I'm going to fast forward past this because it gets a little bit boring, tedious as both teams build up their ubers. And you're just going to see things even out. Again, Mixup playing pretty far back. They have a sentry gun. And Zalox and Lansky using that buff banner or whatever that was to take out the sentry gun from Enigma. Now it looks like they're going to push with the man advantage again. Sorry, why do I keep saying again? Again. No, not again. Okay, so in this scenario, they traded Sugar for Seagull, and a Devilman is way more valuable than a Scout is, of course, so they're going to be able to push on that. See them pushing the point, Banny turning some early frags, and now that they have a man advantage, they're definitely going to go. So they need to push into this and try and force the uber from Harblue. You can see Lansky trying to chuck a couple rockets in there, and Harblue is in a very tough spot because in this situation, if he backs up to the ramp on the bottom left, he's going to get forced. And not only is he going to get forced, but he's going to get forced far away. And again, like I talked about 2 seconds ago with Indus popping his uber on the point, you want to pop the uber as close to the enemy team as possible. That's what's going to get you. You can do the most with your uber that way. If you're too far away, yeah, sure, the soldier can rocket jump, but the medic can't keep the uber on him. He's the slowest class on the team. And so, you know, he's got to hug this corner here and unfortunately just try and stall some time for Seagull and Enigma to respawn. And so, getting back to the game, you're going to see this uber change come out. So what IT is going to do that's so great right now is rather than just try and spam them and get a better uber, they're just going to take a soldier and just throw him in. And again, they have 2 options here. They can just throw him in and get the force easily, and RR can jump out with gunboats, or they can take an uber and exchange him. In this case, they're just going to sacrifice RR to get that force. So really nicely done there. RR just rocket surfing away. If Indus comes in and catches him, that would be super brilliant. But it looks like RR is actually kind of safe here. Platinum gonna chase this into upper lobby and get that uber, and they turn that frag there. So they turn it onto Platinum. And they keep the man advantage train rolling. So nicely done there by IT to force the uber of Harblue and then come back with their own uber. I think they could have done a little bit better job of getting closer. They could have used their uber to try and kill Harblue rather than backing away from it and then using their uber anyways. They had 2 options there. They could have backed away and saved their uber and then gained 2 points off of the uber advantage. Or they could have just chased Harblue with the uber and killed him. Rather than doing that, they went for a sort of middle ground that offered them neither of those options. They couldn't kill Harblue, and they couldn't take an extra point with the uber. They do get Platinum, but the question is, will killing 1 person give them enough man advantage to take middle? And that's what we're about to see here. So you see them trying to push the yard off the high ground here. I'm going to slow it down as we sort of analyze this. Looks like it's a scenario where Mixup have only 2.5 players in the fight. Both scouts in, and then the Devilman off the high ground on the top right side. And meanwhile, all of their heavy players, basically, the medic and the 2 soldiers are out of the fight in the upper lobby. So IT know this is something they can push. Again, remember Platinum died early after forcing the uber, and TLR died as well. So they have a chance here to take the high ground away and zone out the enemy team without uber. So they're gonna try and push this, but they need to play with the heals. They need to make sure no one really overextends and gives away a free frag. You see Banny dancing on the high ground. Unfortunately, Sugar goes down, but they do turn another frag, so it's still even numbers. And right here, you're gonna see a situation where Zalox and Indus on the right side of the screen are not confident in fighting this, whereas Lansky fully dedicates himself on the left side of your screen, and that's a bit of a miscommunication there, because what you want is in a team fight for everyone to be going in at the same time and fighting the same people, and also you put your heals onto one person who's taking all the damage. In this case, it's a bit of a miscommunication. You can see the disjoint there between one player being far away and he can be focus fired down, and then the other team and the heals, more importantly, being in a completely other place, and that might actually give away too many frags to IT. Or to Mixup, sorry. So you can see that Lansky goes down, and now Mixup have a 2-man advantage. They're going to be confident in fighting this, and IT need to back themselves off. Deluxe trying to make his way. He knows he's down a lot of numbers, and that was actually pretty sneaky of him to get away like that and kill Seagull underneath. So, wow, really nicely done. But now it's Mixup's turn to push, and IT are backing themselves all the way up to last. Indus barely survives here.
The control point is being contested.
And you can see it went quickly. Oh no, TLR flanked and got that. Oh no, it just went all bad there. But really nice job by Mixup to just keep rolling the advantages and just keep throwing players in there. And now that they killed Indus, they'll probably take the entire round. But you can see how IT turned the situation from we could be pushing mid and potentially winning it to overcommitting themselves, giving away too many frags, and now they're in a potentially a round losing situation.
Time has been added.
Again, the score is 2-1, IT in the lead, so if they give up this round, it's not a big deal. It's a big deal, but it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? It's a big deal in the sense of like, oh no, I spilled some of my pudding on the ground, and so, but I still have a lot of pudding left, so not a big problem. If you like pudding. No. So Harblu has Uber advantage. They're gonna buff up all their players here, and IT need to try and force the Uber early and then kite it away. They did the force the Uber early part, popping Mixup on the shutter door. Now they need to kite it away and collapse back on the point when the Uber comes off. They're collapsing-ish. They got 2 frags. This might be enough for them. You see them coming in. The heavy surfs in to block the point. Oh my gosh, just brilliant play there from IT. That couldn't have gone any better for them. That was pretty incredible. Forcing the Uber on the shutter door, kiting it away, turning frags on the unubered players, and then collapsing back in on the point. They kept all of their players alive and didn't lose a single one of their own. That was A+, homie. So IT showing that they can hold last without Uber, and that's one of the things about the large last point maps, is that you can just use all that space to kite that Uber away. It wouldn't be as easy to do that on a map like Badlands.
Time has been added.
So now Indus has full Uber advantage over Harblu, and again, whenever you have Uber advantage in that's that much, 50% plus, 40% plus, you're looking at taking 2 points with your Uber. So you either want a really good Uber or you want to bully them out without using your Uber at all. So let's check out how they do this. Lansky's gonna come through the top left, and looks like they think they're close enough to get. They think that they're close enough to Lansky, or Lansky's close enough to the enemy team, where he might be able to catch some enemy players with this Uber. You can see them coming out the top left. One thing I'm not so crazy about what I'm seeing here is they're not bringing in a lot of players. You typically want to bring in 2 to 3 players, not 3, 2 players on this Uber advantage push, and they're only bringing in 1. They bring in Zalox here, but it might be just a little bit too little too late. Zalox jumps the top right side to zone him out, and you can see this is just not the best Uber from IT. They're going to get maybe 1 frag here as the Uber comes off. So you could potentially push the 6-on-5, but let me explain to you really briefly why you want a 2 frags. You want 2 frags off of that Uber. You guys are probably familiar with this. When you win a point, you typically leave a scout on the point and push everyone else up. If it's 6-on-5 and you leave a scout to cap and you push everyone else up, it's going to be a 5-on-5. You turn the frag on Enigma, sure, but it's still 5-on-5. You're not having any advantage there. That's why when you push an Uber into the enemy team, you need a 2-frag advantage, because you can leave a person behind a cap, but then it's still 5-on-4 when you do the push. If you only get 1 frag, it's a less than ideal Uber. It's a situation where you should reconsider and say, did we really need to use Uber there, or could we have gotten more players into the fight to focus fire down? If you only take 1 player in like Lansky, it can be difficult. But you know, still at least they got 1 frag. You can see them now trying to take territory. They're not really able to take too much ground. They're not quite sure how much Uber Hardblue has. So you can see RR dancing around the lobby, trying to figure out how far back Mixup has retreated. And they realize that Mixup retreated all the way back to second point, so they're going to stack the middle and try and deny the forward spawn from Enigma. And so they are able to do that. And keep this play going. So that's why I said they could have pushed there in the 6-on-5, because if you leave a scout to cap and you push forward, it's still 5-on-5. And if you deny the forward spawn like that, then you could even potentially push it the 6-on-5 before Enigma gets there. But one thing that they're also not doing is that they're not taking over this lobby. You can see how they left the lobby for free, and they didn't put a sneaky trap in there. They're not spamming the doorway. They're just leaving it open, allowing Mixup to take it for free. So I guess they're worried about Hardblue coming back in with an Uber quickly. See Mixup just taking their sweet time. Watch how Mixup Uber comes in here. They just walk in for free, they bully them out, and they capture the point. That's exactly how you want it to do it. So, Mixup executing where IT couldn't. Oh no! Right at the tail end of that, they popped the Uber. So, you know, you didn't want to pop the Uber there unless you're going to turn 2 frags. They only turned 1 frag, a nice force by RR onto Hardblue. Oh no, they do turn the frags! Huge play, actually. I don't even know where those frags came from. Looks like they came out of, I almost want to watch that again because I want to see where those frags came from. Rewind. It was a really pretty solid Uber there by Mixup. It's exactly what you wanted. Walk in there. They even turned a frag with Seagull, getting a frag early on. And once you get that early frag, you know that you're going to have the 2-man advantage, or the 1-man advantage without using Uber. So you can see Hardblue and Platinum pushed up and tried to take ground, but I think R had a little sneaky spot that he used to get that force, so that's why I want to go back and see that. But it otherwise would have been a beautiful play by Mixup, just leaving a scout to cap, moving forward, and then using Uber to get the 2nd point. That's exactly what you want. Full Uber advantage, try and get 2 points off of that. So,
Alert. The control point is being contested.
take it out of here. This is before when Indust takes the Uber back in. So you can see Indust, again, it's not anything like the Mixup Uber at all. They pop right away to just easy spam. And Lansky's chasing people out. Xerox is chasing people out. They're not going to turn any of these frags there except for Enigma, who gets caught out by the health pack. And one frag is not good enough here. So now they're going to be watching Mixup do the same Uber back. And what they could have done right in this situation is use the lobby, use territory. Like I mentioned earlier, territory is like a currency. You could use the lobby to try and slow down and build up your own Uber, or, you know, force the Uber ideally in the upper lobby there. But they gave up all that space for free and decided to capture middle point instead. So going back to the game, watch how Mixup comes in with their Uber, and I want to see where they turn those frags, because that allows them to keep the ball rolling. This is something Mixup's doing really well here, just walking it in top left for free. Platinum comes in. I'm going to slow it down so you guys can see. Hardblue's under very minimal threat. He's at 120 health. IT have basically backed themselves out of the point. And Seagull turns that frag in the yard onto RR. So it's not going to be RR getting this force here. You see Platinum pushing up. Uber is forced onto the 2 sides. So Platinum. So the reason they popped the Uber there is different than what I originally thought. I thought that RR might have gotten a sneaky little hiding in the corner and forced the Uber from Hardblue. Instead, they popped the Uber onto Platinum. And you know, they didn't bring too many players in on this, but enough IT players are going to get caught out in this Uber that it's going to be bad for them. You can see Platinum looks like he's trying to finish off Banny. Banny's down to 18 health in the yard, and they're going to bring a scout over there to chase down Banny, I believe. And yeah, Banny underneath is... Banny gets caught out there by Squid. Yep. And then they get TLR in to take down Sugar and force the Uber. So huge plays coming in from Mixup. Now 5 on 3. And they're just going to come back in with that 2-minute advantage and roll that in to take a second point. See now, they roll the tape. Zaylock's pretty hurt. Gonna get caught out here, maybe. Yeah, so they lose their demo man, and now Seagull can just pressure them out and take the second point. So, wow, really well executed there by Mixup to just use that Uber to take 2 points. That's exactly how you want to get it done. They might not have had to use the Uber on the lobby, but they turned the frags anyway. I think Platinum just saw that opportunity, saw like 2 scouts there, and just thought, oh, I can get everybody here. But he didn't have enough players with him. But still, a really solid push, getting that middle point for free, and then getting the second one with the numbers. So if you're IT here, you have what appears to be an Uber disadvantage, as Indus was running away the whole time and wasn't really healing too well, and so he's back on last point. Not much you can do here. Actually, it looks like they're gonna go for this push. I guess RR and that looks like Banny sneak in underneath to try and create a flank. And meanwhile, they're gonna get flanked here by that looks like Enigma coming in through the lobby. So this is a little interesting scrappy play they're going for, because they don't have a demo man and they're going off Uber to try and contest this point, which has already been captured by Mixup. So let's see how this actually ends up working. Scout comes in behind onto Indus, turns that frag. Meanwhile, the bomb on the other side from RR doesn't kill Harblue. Danny gets Seagull, but a medic is way more valuable than the demo man in this situation, because now they can just come back in with the heals, begin capturing the point, and get this for free. And IT don't have any heals, so they can't contest this at all. Another solid play there by Mixup, really, just to throw Enigma in there and turn that frag while IT was going for a broken push. So now they have 70% Uber advantage, and this is why I was talking about the medic being more valuable than the demo man, because you can see that the demo man's going to respawn. It's not a big deal there, but it takes 40 seconds to get an Uber. So while it may only take 10 to 15 seconds for your demo man to respawn, the medic's going to have full Uber. And you can see them pushing down the deep right side. They just need to get a couple more players in here. They're getting Seagull in. And now they're going to go for this push out of Shutter. And IT, again, need to try and force them early on. But Mix doing a great job flashing in 2 players, Seagull and Platinum, on this Uber. He's even getting a couple extra flashes in here on Delansky. But no, not good enough. I think it came down to that heavy play there by Sugar. That's why it did so well. Let's go back and look at that. It's so finicky when you think about it, because there's so many opportunities. Like, you think, oh yeah, well, if I have 70% Uber advantage, I'm just gonna win last with an Uber. And oddly enough, on this map, both teams are using their Uber so early in pushing the last point that it's just nullified there by the heavy, who just comes in, helps collapse that point down. And that's tough, because you want to turn the frags early on, but IT did a really solid job forcing that Uber early. Let's go back and check it out here as we resume the game. So IT, you can see Xerox has a couple stickies on the front door, but not really too many. And because Platinum has committed himself to this fight, he's gonna have to pop this early. You got a 400 health heavy here on the right side, and Lansky's at 300 on the other side, left side. And here they come. The Uber's gonna come off. The heavy peeks out. Here comes R with the bomb on the high ground. They take down Zaylox and Harblue. And Indust. Taking down Indust is like one of the least valuable players that you can have, because he can't kill anything. But he can get the Uber. He's at 97 there, so they take him down. But now it's a 4-on-4 fight. Good focus fire in from Shrugger, and yeah, that heavy did tons of work. Yeah, and so now Enigma can't come in and fight the 1v2. That's gonna be it. Really solid last hold from IT without using Uber. So, even Uber scenario. Really nice last hold by IT, both medics died. Indus was dangerously close to getting that Uber. He got a sick Uber saw on the last on the right side. He was at 97%, didn't get it in time. See IT being a little risky about it, taking some ground, but also creating space for Zalox to put up a trap. So that trap was basically created by Lansky pushing out there. And I'm not sure if he's going to blind at that or watch for someone to peek shutter and then dead that. It's like Squid or Enigma is able to find that out. Again, IT pushing up to take the ground to try and slow them down on this, and then they're going to exchange that for an Uber force or you know, trying to get Indus's Uber. They force the Uber off of Seagull pretty early again, but this time it's different this time. They have a level, like not even level 1 sentry setup on this far right by the point, so they're not ready for this. They have a heavy who's not buffed and not in position, and it looks like this Uber is going to be a lot more effective here from Mixup. You can see that they brought in a scout who's stacked on top of the medic. They have a soldier flanking on the right, and they have 2 Ubered players, the Platinum and Seagull, coming straight down the middle. RR goes, you know, try and make Blue flash. That's why he's jumping in, is because he can be in the air, and unless Platinum hits a nasty, or Zalak hits a unless Platinum or Seagull hit a nasty air shot onto RR, they're not going to get that frag. So RR, if he can just jump on the high ground and then shoot down and try and get Blue to flash, that Uber will come off sooner. And then IT need to try and make this Uber get off quickly and then buff up players and try and collapse on the point. But again, that level 1 sentry not going to come into play. The heavy is out of position, and Indus is dangerously low, 19 health. He goes down this time. So now Mixup can just play the heals. They get the frags. And it's only Lansky to try and contest the point, and that's not going to be enough.
Alert! Our last control point is being captured.
Yeah, good round for Mixup. Good Ubers. They pushed last point twice. The first time it failed, the second time they got it to work. Okay, so the score is currently 2-2. 20 minutes left in the second half of the game. And let's analyze the mid. So you can see Zalox again going for that bottom right. He's down to 100 health against Seagull, who's 170. Keep that in mind as we watch this fight. Zalox is going to try and line of sight this top right side. He gets some good early damage onto Seagull. Seagull took those 2 stickies and he's down to 74. So Zalox is essentially evened that out. In the scout demo 3v3, it looks like a pretty even fight thus far. Both scouts from IT are playing pretty passively. In fact, I don't even see one of them. Yeah, one of them's just hopping on the high grounds. I think it's Banny. And Trugger's on the top left. And then for Mixup, they have decent position here, and they actually have TLR getting in pretty quickly. So Seagull has the high ground. I'm not quite sure who's going to come out on top here. Let's keep watching to find out. RR gets himself on the top right. Crate, again, being a great distraction. Both roaming soldiers actually mirroring each other and doing the same exact thing. Holding out the enemy team top right. Soldier Bomb comes in from Platinum off the top right side here. He has a lot of health, so he's hitting RR, who just got a health pack, and nullifying his health pack. Really well done there. And Mixup are looking like they have the better positioning. You see IT playing pretty far back. They're not even on the gray part of the map. They're on the yard, so they're basically halfway out of the fight already before the fight even begins. And you can see on the left side there, Lansky decides he doesn't want to fight this. You can see Trugger on the low ground in the middle by the lamp. He decides he doesn't want to fight this. Banny on the shack is the only thing keeping Platinum really from pushing in to Indust. And Mixup are in pretty solid positioning, and both teams have even health, so it's really the positioning that's really going to decide this fight. And Mixup look like they have the better positioning thus far. Zaylox doing a great job bullying Platinum off the high ground though. The damage comes in from RR and they turn the frag with Shrugger onto Platinum. Now they have number advantage, so they're gonna push in on this. Zaylox being really aggressive on that top right side, and that bomb from RR from the top right is looking so strong onto Seagull, trapping him in the fight. So 3 players are gonna go down from Mixup, and IT, you know, they look like they were out of the fight for a second there, but they turned that frag onto Platinum, who apparently this spot on the top right side was overextending, and RR and Shrugger and Zaylox were able to take him down. A really solid play by them, and now they're pushing with the 3 number advantage. And again, there's no demo man alive, so there's no trap. They can just keep rushing their way in here. You can see Banny just pushing to take space, because space is one of the most valuable currencies that you can have in this game. He's just pushing forward and taking as much ground, because the more ground that Banny takes there, the safer his team knows that every inch is safe up into where Banny is. So the more Banny keeps going, as long as he's keeping track of all the players in front of him, he knows there's only 3 players to keep track of, because it's a 6-on-3. So they just know that there's no cheap spots going in. There's no, you know, surprise bomb gonna come in from TLR to try and force the Uber from Indos. There's none of that. They can just keep Wing forward and taking that very quickly, and that's something that Invite teams do very well, is just moving forward quickly. Once they realize, it looks like they don't want to keep pushing forward here, and it looks like that's because they're waiting for some players to catch up. So they're gonna let mid cap. They're gonna stack some extra time on 2, and then they're probably going to push off of this. Oh, actually, it's gonna be even numbers there. They might just sacrifice a player. So rather than get into last and fight while Seagull's down, looks like IT is electing to just capture the point instead. Yeah, they do sacrifice RR down the deep right side. Oh my gosh. You actually almost kind of got that. That was pretty sneaky. Mixup, I don't think they can push off of this. They already have a sentry, so that just shows that they're not going to push off. And Lansky making sure that they're not pushing into them. He's trying to find the combo. That's why Lansky's so far up here. But it actually might come to hurt them, because the combo from Mixup is pushing out the deep right side. Zaylox has a trap to cover it though, and it would be risky for Mixup to push this. But again, I talk about this a lot. There's 2 plays you can always go for. There's the conservative play and the aggressive play. And Mixup and IT are the embodiment of those plays. Mixup, you know, if it came down to the decision, Mixup would choose the aggressive play and IT would choose the conservative play. You saw right there, IT had a chance. They could have rolled into last while Seagull was down, while they had the 6-on-3, but instead they just even it out, sacrifice RR, nice and safe. You know, the score is 2-2. We don't want to give this up. But Mixup, it's 2-2, and they're like, screw it. Like we have a 1-man pick. He's coming in late, but he's not there right now. It's technically 6-on-5. Let's do the push. Let's get the Ubers out of the way. Let's see if we can make something happen here. So yeah, they're gonna go for this. Unfortunately, Platinum goes down to the Zaylox trap, and that's gonna halt everything. They immediately turn around and try and get out of this. Seagull just gets caught in that too. A huge play by Lansky there, and it's like, so people will argue all day long, like, oh well, if you're broking, right? Oh well, the conservative play is so boring, right? Like it's just so I'm falling asleep watching this cast, but it does pay off for IT. The patience does pay off sometimes. See that they got that trap on the Platinum, and that's the 1-man advantage they can push on that 6-on-5, and then to top it all off, they take down Seagull, and that's just the nail in the coffin there for this round. So IT are just moving their way in. They're gonna get in here really, really far for free. So what Mixup wants to do is force that Uber early. They're not gonna be able to do that at all. Lansky just walk his way in. They're down. They're two of their best players. Plus, Demo Man there too. It's just like Lansky is gonna come in with a really nice Uber. The Ubers are gonna get out of the way. 6-on-5 now as they come back in, and they can just collapse on this. There's no Demo Man here. Let's see if IT can finish this one off. What? Okay. Alright. Huge play by Mixup. Not be calling stuff before I see it happen. I didn't watch the demo beforehand. It's my fault. I should have been like, the caster's problem is calling things before it happens. But that just didn't go the right way there, and I'm gonna rewind it so we can see and go back and see why is it that this push didn't work? Because everything was going in the way of IT there. They had the 6-on-4, they took down Platinum and Seagull. They got in super far without using their Uber, and then as the Uber comes off, Mixup just has great health, comes in, collapses on that, and somehow forces out IT. I want to see how that happened, because that's pretty incredible there. They should have lost that round. And should is, you know, a word that I use loosely, but they should have had that round. So please game don't crash on me. Technical. Oh, it's not a technical difficulty. Okay, it's a technical difficulty, but it's a different technical difficulty. It's the one where my computer freezes for 3 minutes straight and I have to dance in front of the stream to keep you entertained. So we're gonna take a short break and then maybe a part 2 video. I lied. It looks like we're safe. Okay, here we are, we're back. Alright, so let's watch it back. R goes down, makes him go for this push. Zelak puts the trap up. Okay, Platinum's gonna die to this trap, and then Seagull's gonna get caught in this corner here, which is super unfortunate. Okay, he goes down. Seagull's like, uh-oh. Okay, pause. Not pause. Slow down. Okay, so let's just analyze this, right? 6-on-4, IT has a huge advantage. They took down the Pocket and the Dome Man, the two of like the targets that you may consider Ubering on. So what Mixup's thinking is we need to stall for 8 seconds to get Platinum up, and then maybe we can win the 5-on-6. That's what they're thinking. IT's thinking we need to get in there now, get the Ubers out of the way, and then win the 6-on-4 or a 6-on-5, either one. What I'm seeing from the buffs right now is that RR and Sugar don't have buffs, but they have good health and fightable health. And Banny, Zalox, and Lansky all have buffs. Banny's buff doesn't really count, but there should be a decent Uber coming in, and Lansky's already halfway in the door, so he should just be able to jump onto Harblue and get this force. Him walking his way in. Harblue doesn't want to use this Uber first. Harblue does not want to use this Uber first. Lansky getting juggled up here. They need to just jump in and use this Uber, and maybe that's where they go wrong here, is that Lansky gets the double, the little pop-up air shot here on the TLR and doesn't get the force into Harblue right away, but hurting the Pocket Soldier typically is just as good. You can see on the far side of the map how Shrugger with the no buff is fighting Enigma, who has a buff. Oh, sorry, that's probably Squitter, 123. So, it's going to be an even fight over there. Maybe Shrugger loses that fight. Let's keep watching. Ubers are forced, so they're even Ubers on this end. And Shrugger's actually taking... sorry, is that Banny over there? No, Shrugger. Shrugger took a lot of damage. Took 60 damage on that left side. Meanwhile, the Ubers over here are pretty even. And Lansky, unfortunately, cannot find any targets to make Harblue flash to. So, keeping it moving. Shrugger turns around to engage with the Scout, who's at 60 health. That's Enigma, so it's 15 health versus 60 health. So maybe Shrugger goes down to the 1-on-1 versus Enigma here, and this Uber is actually looking decent. So while Lansky goes in there pretty early on and gets a decent Uber off, a lot of damage onto TLR, a good Uber force that's about even timings, Lansky isn't unfortunately able to find any damage on anyone else on Mixup, whereas TLR, who is a great roamer, but also used to be one of the best pockets in the game, is able to find damage with the rest of this Uber. You can see him here now, damaging Lansky and holding out RR. And then that's going to force Indust and Zalox to be in a poor situation where they need to back off of this. And I think Shrugger's going to go down on that far side there. So, watching, and just slightly better. Yeah, Squid helps finish off Shrugger here, and they turn the frag onto Lansky with that damage coming in from RR earlier on in the Uber. So now with those two frags, that's going to more than even out Seagull's death, because Seagull's just about to come up here, and Mixup now have the number advantage. So that was pretty crazy actually what Mixup just did right there, because they should have lost. I'm telling you, they should have lost. They were down so much. And I think what it came down to is TLR was the target initially. I think maybe Lansky, if he forced the Uber first from Harblu rather than trying to go on get damage on TLR, and then he didn't find any people to flash onto. It was just credit Mixup there for spreading out really well and keeping away from Lansky. So really nicely done there by Mixup. Number advantage now, 3 down for IT, and Mixup are gonna go for this push. And okay, I'm going to take a pause break right here. Hope you enjoyed that. That was take 2. I think the top-down view is a lot more interesting than the POV view, but I'm going to continue watching the rest of this match in part 2, and we'll be watching and see what happens. So, cool. Okay. Does anyone have any feedback on how that went? Because I'm gonna use the last portion of either analyze it in the first way or the second way. I think the first way is a lot more interesting. Sorry, the second way is a lot more interesting than where I talk about like team dynamic and less about because you can't see everything from the POV, whereas you can see everything from top down. The top down sucks for Cass, not gonna lie. Top down, freaking awful. But it's not that bad for demo review. You're just missing half the game, which is the second way is better. Okay. First way is too much Indus Wiener IMO. Yeah. My forehead reflects light? Oh. Thanks, Snake. I've had this problem since forever. Right here, too, huh? Yeah, bummer. Keep a cap, Kipo. More Wolf, less gameplay. Okay, alright, we're just gonna keep it. I'm gonna trust Broking's advice on this, so. Welcome back to part 2 of this IT versus Mixup game. We were checking out one of the more exciting matches of the season on Metalworks Week 4, and it was versus the top 2 teams in North America. So the score is 2-2 still. I believe it's still 2-2. Yeah, it's still 2-2. And Mixup and IT been back and forth here. What we saw was a scenario just before the break where IT could have totally dominated it and won that round, and Mixup just had a stellar defense with just even Ubers, but they were down players. It was... You have to go back and watch it again. Anyways, we're gonna keep watching. So now Mixup have number advantage, and they're gonna begin pushing out of blast.
Our control point is being captured.
And you can see TLR getting so aggressive. Oh my goodness, catching Zalox out in the upper lobby. Saw an opportunity, went for it, got the pick. Zalox was just caught out there. And now with the Demo Man down, Mixup is queued to push. So they're gonna begin making their way through. Again, anytime there's no Demo Man, you can just slow push. And Demoman is the class that stops you from slow pushing. It's the potential damage of a trap that you put up. You put three, 4 stickies there. That's 200 damage. So you can't walk through the trap, or you have to stop and clear the trap. In which case the Demoman can just replace the trap. So the demo is what stops a slow push. If Demoman goes down, you can just push off of that every single time. So number advantage, even numbers, whatever. You just know that there's no trap there. And so that's one less thing you have to worry about as you begin your push. So, Mixup just making their way into mid, nice and easy breezy cover girl. And you can see Squid is just trying to create some space for his team, but he takes a little bit too much damage there. Bandy's going to try and punish that. That's going to slow down the push from Mixup just a little bit longer. Meanwhile, RR in the lobby takes down Harblu, and that is extremely unfortunate. They try to push out there, and a great play from RR. Lansky's just going to clean up the frags here, and IT have turned this one around. That is the danger of pushing the upper lobby and not the... let that be a lesson. Let that be a lesson for you kids. Make sure you push the yard and not the lobby. The lobby is congested, you can get bombed, you get caught out there, and way better to push the yard instead. So, Mike is fucking up.
Control point is being contested.
IT turning more frags. This is looking really good for them now as they just begin rolling their way into last. And Lansky just rolling it through here. They know that Hard Blue doesn't have Uber. Nice flashing onto a scout as well. And on this fight, they target the heavy. Maybe? Oh, please target the heavy. No, they didn't target the heavy. Ah. Oh. This is just, if you're IT right now, you're heartbroken. You're thinking, God, that was two what should have been solid in the books pushes that just didn't go right. And Mixup did a really solid defense again, kiting behind the wall, and then I think it's just not focusing the right targets. You saw Shrugger was trying to capture the point, and he put a decent amount of capture point on time on there, but they didn't bring enough players into it. They didn't target the soldier. They didn't target the heavy, and you saw Squid just came in and cleaned everything up there. And so now that was just a solid defense. Hard Blue's gonna have Uber advantage. They begin pushing out already. And again, I really like what TLR is doing here. It's the same thing that I mentioned with Banny earlier, where you take a player and you just move them up as far as you can, and as long as you keep track of everyone else and keep them generally in front of you, or at least in front of you on a certain part of the map, you know that that entire space is clear, because that you cleared that space up until that point. So you saw the second that they knew they were going to push, TLR takes his health and begins using it to move forward, and his teammates can comfortably move up as a result of that. And if they don't move up with you, you can turn into a sacrifice play, or you can just back off of it. Capture time going down. 40% Uber advantage, so they can't afford to lose Hard Blue here. And you see in this scenario, Indust and Zalox are playing safely back. They don't want to lose their medic. Hard Blue also is going to play back here. He can't afford to lose himself, but TLR, if he's overextended and loses the fight in the 2-on-1 here, it's not a huge deal. Hard Blue still has the Uber advantage, but they ideally don't want to lose TLR. So you might be saying in this scenario, what the heck, why is Hard Blue ditching TLR? And he's not ditching him, he's prioritizing his life over TLR's. TLR's, if he dies, he's on a 10 to 15 second respawn timer. If Hard Blue dies, then IT has a full Uber advantage pushing last and a chance to win the round. So Hard Blue just needs to stay alive here. TLR is going to be left for dead, unfortunately gets caught out overextended. Zalox is going to chase this one actually and try and get that force or some damage onto Hard Blue. Doesn't quite get it and actually gets punished for it. But now Hard Blue 40% advantage and a chance to push out of this. They could go, but Enigma is going to go down here by the stairs, so that puts them 2 down. They definitely cannot push. IT, on the other hand, can't push either because they have hurt players. They're not quite in position for the push, and if they go for it, it's going to be a 6-on-5. That's just going to be, it's not as good, but you know, they might go for it anyway. See Lansky pushing up here, and he's going to decide not to go for this. So playing back by the doors. RR is going to bomb in. This is the suicide play that we frequently see him do. Actually does die there. Upper lobby. Meanwhile, Mixup do the 6-on-5 suicide of their own and don't get anything out of that. TLR backs off of that and Seagull turns the frag. So again, anytime you go up one number, Mixup can suicide another player. If they're looking to suicide a scout, you see Enigma poking down the steep left side, deciding to go for this maybe? No, they can't possibly go for this. Yeah, if they go now, it'd be too late. So they're gonna back off. And I really like what I'm seeing here from Mixup, because you could argue, you know, that man, they could just go for it like they did last time and try and exchange the Ubers, but you saw what happened when they went for it was that they lost Platinum and they lost Seagull earlier on in the demo review. So you know, rather than going for their full combo push, they just do a couple little, like, you know, sacrificing a roamer, sacrificing scouts, classes that don't really matter. They matter, but if it's 6-on-5 or 5-on-4, you can sacrifice the player and make it 4-on-4. And here's the thing. A lot of people think that if you have the 4th point, you have spawn advantage, and that's true. You have spawn advantage over the 4th point. But on last point, the defending team has the spawn advantage because you literally spawn right next to last point, whereas especially on a map like Metalworks, the second spawn is so far away from last point that it's not really the respawn advantage after all. So again, 6 on 5, 5 on 4, 4 on 3. Go ahead and push up and sacrifice a player. Things are kind of resetting here, going back to the IT POV. Like Lansky and Zalux are beginning to push up, looking for any way that they can get in. You see RR gonna get a buff, and I guess going for yet another sacrifice play. Harblu down to 33 health. He almost got forced there, but that was dangerous things. I'm gonna fast forward. Again, this map gets really stalematy on last points, especially with the way IT plays, where they just sacrifice a player and then wait for him to respawn, and it can be a little bit dull to watch respawn timers tick down, so trying to get through that. Actually, it looks like IT are just planning their next push. They buffed all of their players up. You see on the right side of my screen, there's so much blue. Both teams buffing up their players. And looks like Sniper RR down the deep right for an angle. And while he's doing that, you can see that he hasn't taken a shot yet, so Mixup doesn't know that he's there. And they focused all of their attention towards this right side of last. And they're doing that because they think the combo's coming out the right side. You can see that TLR on the deep right has scouted them out as coming through lobby, and Platinum is preparing for them to come out main. And also Harblu hiding close to the wall. You can see him in between his legs, if I can click over there. You can see him over here playing close, so that way they can get an even Uber exchange, possibly. So, and also that keeps Harblu out of sniper sight. Not a whole lot going on. Sugar gonna go for this, blah blah blah. And I typically don't like to watch for the sniper pick because it's so boring to watch him get it. But you know, Mixup doing the standard, trying to zone him out as he goes for it. He's jumping players up on the high ground, trying not let them in for free. And they turn the frag onto the sniper, so that means even more IT waiting, and Mixup are gonna get bored and go for this push. And you see Platinum going down the deep left, and I'm not quite sure I fully agree with this, because it puts you in a scenario where IT could wrap you and push you down the deep left and get behind your combo, and that's really dangerous. So if Platinum were to push out of the shutter door here, it'd be disastrous for his team. So he needs to wrap back around and keep the enemy team in front of him by pushing to the right side lobby. But alas, he's gonna go for this. Oh goodness gracious. Even Uber exchange. And this even Uber is not that bad for Mixup actually. You can see that they only Uber on a one-person Platinum, and Indus had to flash onto a scout and a soldier. So that's going to even out the Uber. And Platinum wants to get this fight to go, but he knows that he's at a respawn disadvantage here, and he just can't afford to push this. So maybe if Seagull can get some extra damage in here and turn a frag, they can do this, but otherwise they cannot. And uh-oh, Seagull in a lot of trouble. He's gonna go down, and Squid goes down, and that's just it's just the way that IT plays. A lot of people have problems with it. I personally think it's it's kind of like cheesing in StarCraft. You know, it's really cheesy. It's silly to play against, but it works. And if it works, it's a viable way to play the game. And you know, the way IT is playing it, just playing patiently, sacrificing one player at a time until the other team gets bored and decides to push. That's a thing. Like, you can do that. IT can just wait it out, play the waiting game, and Mixup will get bored and push into second point and make mistakes that way. That's just what happens. You know, see how this actually turns out though, as we did see that Mixup were able to resist that once upon a time. So looks like, is that Lansky using the, is that a buff banner? I think that was a buff banner or a conch or something. I don't know what that was. They get rockets onto Harblu, trying to force his Uber first. Zalux takes on TLR, so 3 down now for Mixup, who just get spawned up with Squid and Seagull, so it's 5 on 6 for Mixup, as they're trying their best to force Harblu, and Harblu just has superb positioning. I mean, he is not taking any damage at all. He's just playing back, making sure that IT uses that Uber first. Frag's trading on the point as IT. One of the things you can do to try and force that Uber is bring the enemy team to the point, and you can see that they put some time on it, but Harblu just does not want that to happen. And actually, I think the Ubers were exchanged as I wasn't looking. This is really, really bad analysis on my part. Oh no, they were exchanged on second point. Duh. That's what you call a blonde moment. No offense to all you blondes out there, but blonde moment, okay. And yeah, IT with the number advantage, 6-on-4, we're able to just drop down on a point and get that cap. So IT take the lead, 3-2. So 11.5 minutes remaining in this half, and if the 11.5 minutes tick down and it's tied, then it will go to overtime. So it looks like Zalak's going for the same thing he's gone for every single time, which is going out lower, and Siegel's going for the same thing he's gone out every single time, which is top left. And again, Siegel's going to have a health advantage over Zalox as he does this, because he gets the health pack and comes out. Both of them trading stickies onto each other. Siegel taking that as an initiative to get really aggressive. He pushes onto Zalox and forces Zalox into a bad position. Zalox is going to have to take this health back, and he's on the low ground behind a wall where he can't zone at the enemy team. And this positioning that Siegel has is fantastic because he can look at two different areas here. He can look at this area and lock him out there, and he can also look at this area and lock him out here and lock out the yard push. That it's it comes a little bit delayed. Whereas if you look on the other end, RR from this back right health pack, or sorry, Zalox, why do I keep calling it RR? Zalox with the back right health pack can only really fight this top right side. He's letting Mixup come out this way for free. Takes 0 damage. I really like what I'm seeing here from Siegel. He's just gonna lock out that lower end. He's gonna force IT to basically come out into a bunch of stickies or come out top right away from the Devilman, and so desperately wants to come out and heal Zalox. Zalox got the health pack and had the health advantage and pushes into Siegel and takes him down. Huge play by Zalox there. Without your Devilman, if your Devilman goes down in the 3v3 before your soldiers get into the fight, it's like an instant win. If you lose a scout at this level, it's typically a solid win there as well. But if you lose your Devilman, it's really difficult for IT to screw this up. They just need to slow play it, and their damage over time is going to be superior to Mixup's damage over time because the Devilman is the highest damage output class in the game. So, moving it along. Bomb comes in to try and take down Zalox, who they assume is lit. Zalox unfortunately is not lit at all. He's got the health pack and all that stuffs. And Mixup are just losing a few too many players, committing themselves to the Zalox kill. And they're staying in this fight because Harblu is relatively safe, but they're about to lose a ton of players here, and Harblu knows this. He's gonna have to back off. TLR is fully committed to this fight. Squid is pretty committed to this fight, and Harblu's gonna have to back off by himself. And so that's the danger of playing the middle when you lose your Devilman that early. It's like, you're gonna lose the middle anyways, so you have a choice. You can either sacrifice a bunch of players and try and get some sort of huge pick on the medic or a demo, or get like some sort of massive kill streak for something that comes out of nowhere. But more times than not, you're gonna lose the mid straight up. So that's exactly what happens there. And instead of people backing up with Harblu and building the Uber, Indus is in a scenario where he's going to be building Uber, and Harblu, he knows Harblu is not going to be building Uber. So if IT roll it to last point fast enough, then they can just Uber it on last before Harblu can get his own Uber. That's extremely dangerous for Mixup. So we're going to be watching as IT, again, moving it through. They're going to leave a scout to capture the middle point. They're rolling it through here. Again, they know they have huge Uber advantage over Harblu. So you can see Zalox moving up, putting some sneaky traps in case Mixup decide to contest second point. And RR wants to move this up here. It's up to IT if they want to push this, because they do have such a large advantage. Again, 25% advantage here is pretty significant. But looks like they're just gonna chill out and play the IT game, which is just to wait for things to even out once again. And classic IT. So. It's not, and I want to make I commented about it already, but I want to say another thing, which is that it's not incorrect to pass that up. A lot of teams will say that it's incorrect to pass up such a good opportunity like that to win the round, but it is a gamble. It's a risk reward, right? And IT would rather like roll with the strategy that they have well practiced, which is okay. Let's sacrifice RR over and over again. Let's once we get that number advantage, then we can do an easy push off of that, where we're guaranteed to have an advantage in the push. Whereas like this is a pretty clear cut advantage for them, pushing with that uber advantage, but they have a number disadvantage. It is risky, but there's really no harm either way. If you don't push, you let it even out. You still have fourth point. You still did well. You still won mid. You have the winning position to win the round. Whereas if you go for the push 5-on-6, it could be what happened earlier, which is where Mixup just rolled in and used the Uber and won it. You can get some picks, and worst comes to worst is you force the Uber from the enemy team and then you back out and keep your medic alive. That's the way I view it. But if Harblue's tucked away, if he's too sneaky, if they don't force that Uber, they're in a dangerous scenario because again, full Uber advantage gains you 2 points if you play it correctly. And so if for example IT pushes last and don't like they use their Uber and they don't kill Harblue, they don't force the Uber, they don't do anything to Harblue at all, and they don't get any frags, that's extremely dangerous for IT. Because now it's 6-on-6 and Mixup can take 2 points off of that and take middle. And IT, what they love to do more than anything else is to have the winning position on the map, which is to have middle point because that gives you respawn advantage. They love to have the middle point and then just slow the game down and work off of the respawn advantage. That's the way they like to play, and they've been successful for 2+ seasons doing that. So blame them. Back into the game. Even Ubers, Mixup cannot push out of this, and IT knows that. Now they're probably going to buff up RR and go for a sacrifice play. Mixup going for this push though. Even Ubers, they have Seagull in on it and they turn the frag onto RR early. This is really, really interesting and different from Mixup. It's a high risk, high reward play because you're pushing out a last even Ubers, but if you get Platinum into a good situation where he's mixed up with the IT players, you might actually come up with a favorable Uber there. And right there, they actually caught out RR out of position. And now, looking at this game, you can see that Platinum is in a situation where he could potentially take this Uber in to 3 to 4 players on the second point. And best thing about it is that they've kept that IT off of the last point. So as long as they cover all the doors, there's no chance for backcap. They know that they haven't. IT has not had a chance to sacrifice a player yet to swap him off to an off class, and so they could get this push to work. But pretty risky because Seagull had to get in the mix there to turn that frag. You see the push going down. Now I'm going to slow down time. Platinum's going to come out towards the point. Uber's popped, and Platinum's #1 focus right now is to try and get the Uber force onto Indust. Indust knows this. He's going to play close to the enemy team, pop that Uber, and now look how many players he's flashing in. Anytime you have Uber advantage, you flash players in there. Great job by Indust bringing players into this to try and catch some extra players out. What I'm not a huge fan of is this Uber coming in so low on this low side. I'd rather see this Uber over here on the high ground closer to the enemy team and take it into the enemy team with the Uber. But it's still a decent Uber here. So see Lansky gonna try and fight off Platinum. Again, this is a decent scenario for Mixup. They got the frag onto RR. It's technically 6-on-5 as the Ubers come off, and the health is pretty comparable. So Mixup could potentially come in here and use the 6-on-5 number advantage to get a 6-on-4. You can see now that Enigma's trying his best to make this fight happen. Unfortunately for him, Banny's going to catch him out and make it the 5-on-5 that IT wants. Strugger goes down, still 5-on-4 for Mixup, and they could make this push work. You see decent damage onto Banny. You can see that the combo from Mixup is pretty much vacated the premises as Lansky gets 2 frags. And that's gonna signal the end of that for Mixup. So IT with a chance to push this 5-on-3. Let's see if they go for the full-on committing push or if they go for the sacrificial bomb play. That's the safer play here. Good damage onto Enigma early on in this fight. Using the numbers to their advantage. You can see Indust completely in a safe... Whoops. Okay, well, so much for that. But Indust is in a very safe position with 2 players in front of him, and Harblue's in a situation where he's trying to pick up his respawners and give him crit heals so that they can have buffs for this fight.
Alert! Our last control point is being captured.
And Yeah, unfortunately for them, Mixup just didn't have enough numbers to fight that. Well played by IT to turn those frags. Nice job by Lansky. So the score is 4-2, and there's very little time left. 9 minutes for Mixup to try and get 2 rounds and tie it up. And I would argue that the rounds that IT has won in this matchup have been earned off of Mixup mistakes rather than IT wins. I feel like Mixup has just been overextending and just being like a little bit overeager for no reason other than the fact that they might be bored, and I feel like IT have just capitalized on that and just turned the round off of, you know, catching out Mixup players who are overextending on this push, out of defensive positions, out of basically poor positions. So both teams have been playing decently well. Let's see how this next mid goes. Again, Zalox is doing very well coming out of this lower end. It looked like Zalox wasn't doing the best coming out of here, but he actually turned the frag on Seagull last mid. Seagull is a little bit slow on this mid fight, so Zalox is actually getting decent damage on him, evening out to 80 to 96. And I'm focusing a lot of my attention on the health of the Demo Man, but it actually affects a lot of stuff when it comes to how the fight turns out and how the teams posture themselves later on in the fight. You can see that Zalox is going to back up for this health pack. Soldier RR is going to come in and make sure that Seagull stays out of the fight. That's his main focus. TLR doing something similar to the enemy combo on the left. And looking at this top-down view, we can see that Mixup have more positioning, better positioning, more control over the point, and are doing a better job of zoning out the IT players. I mean, the IT players are playing so far back, right? Away in these corners, away. Mixup, a little tentative. Seagull is being legitimately zoned out by RR, but the rest of the players are able to come in for free. Heals from Harblue coming up that left side. Indus is trying to spread them out and get his scouts up onto the high ground, and that's the first frag right there. And that's why positioning is so important. TLR jumped up onto Lansky above the point and turns that frag, and now Mixup are in the 6-on-5 situation, where they just need to play the number advantage and focus fire properly. You see RR going for the distraction play, but he realizes that he can't really break through these scouts. Or can he? He takes down Enigma. And oh wow, I'm surprised he turned that frag because he was on the high ground there. He shot down to like 3 of them on the low ground. That was really well done. Mixup still have the numbers though because Platinum and Seagull are turning frags, and I think that Mixup still have the advantage on this. Really nice job by Squid diving in on that. Knows he can't be shot at. Dalox is gonna get caught out here by Squid, who's gonna finish off his medic. Or will he? Oh my god, Indust. Oh my god, he got 2 Uber Saws. Epic play there by Indust, 13 health. And he's gonna be able to make it out alive, maybe. I'm not quite sure because actually he is able to make it out alive. Incredible. Whoa. That was insane actually by Indust, because he should have died to Squid. Just a huge, really clutch play by Indus there to take it out alive, and that's significant in this situation because if he died, Mixup would have won mid easily, hands down, and then it would have been even Ubers. But now Indus stays alive. He's gonna have Uber advantage over Harblue, who died in this fight. Now Indus and his team has a chance to retake middle. So even though Mixup get this capture down, IT have the heals. They're gonna buff up, and they could potentially come back into this.
Time has been added.
Ooh, unfortunately, Indus didn't really find enough players there. Wasn't building super efficiently, and Harblue spawns and gets Indus only about a 6% Uber advantage. So not as big of an advantage as I thought. And yeah, this is not a big enough advantage for ID to push, so Mixup gonna be able to hold on to the middle here, and they're actually taking over the yard. So if you want to do a push from 3 to 2, there's 2 ways that you do it. You can take the Uber straight into them, or you can go for the slower push and try and gain territory. One of them requires more work because there's more ground to take, but offers you a better position, whereas the other one is less work, but you just pop straight into them. And so in this map, you could pop in through lobby, which goes straight into them, or you could do the hard work of just trying to like work your way through the alleyway or underneath, rocking to a good position for. And thank you for complimenting my beautiful hands. Let's go. But you can see, they just all they need to do is clear this trap and then move their way forward, or they can just push the yard, which is a lot more space, a lot more room to take, but also more room for error. Looks like they're gonna go for the yard. They go for the upper. You gotta be careful about the Zalox trap. And Zalox goes down to TLR bomb off the left side. I was not looking at that at all. And with Zalox down, this triggers the push from Mixup. Uber's gonna get forced at approximately even times, and wow, Squid is using this very nicely to try and get damage onto Shrugger. And actually breaks his way in here as well. Unfortunately, he knows his even Ubers, he can't keep flashing to him, and Platinum is the one who's gonna get caught out. So Platinum's gonna sacrifice himself for the good of his team. Go down. Unfortunately, Enigma tried to follow up on Platinum's damage, and he's gonna get caught out now. And now Seagull's gonna try and help Enigma out, but realizes he can't do anything here as well. And that's just a domino effect. So what Platinum did at the start of the fight was he sacrifices him. Like after the Ubers come off, Platinum and Harblue and Squid all realize that they flashed Squid a couple too many times while Squid gets damage in on Shrugger. So even though I found a good opportunity there, it actually hurts the even Uber scenario for Squid to be in on that fight. Flashes go off. Platinum realizes that he's not the only way for Harblue to get out alive is to suicide. And the reason that is the case is because if he didn't suicide, if he backed out the same direction as Harblue, then Lansky would just chase that down with the better Uber and take him down. So Platinum has to suicide on the low ground. And then Enigma misread the situation and thought he should come in and help Harblue, and he goes down, and then Seagull misreads the situation, thinks that he's going to help Enigma, and now look at the situation here. He's going to get caught out, maybe, by Lansky. Unfortunately, Lansky didn't have help to fight that, but still, number advantage for IT, and the flanking scout from behind, that's going to be Banny, trying to pull the enemy team back. So he does that successfully, and RR is zoning the enemy team out with that number advantage. Big Banny just Wing in on Seagull, and now Shrugger in for the follow-up to try and get any extra damage in here while Squid is reloading. And Squid is very, very low, so even though Banny goes down here, this looks decent for IT with the 4-on-3. Ooh, TLR with the big rockets, the wall shot to take down Shrugger. Now Mixup have the number advantage. Oh, TLR goes huge with the 3K. Indust in a lot of trouble getting jumbled up. The scout follow up there, that's going to be Squid to take down Indust, and this is just a very scrappy fight as Harblue chases in to try and help out, and RR just can't get that last rocket in there to finish off Harblue. That was so close. And it's really tough to analyze a situation like that where both teams are pushing back and forth, but basically at that level of the game, you're watching the kill feed like a hawk. Like you have in a game like League of Legends or Dota or StarCraft where you're always watching the minimap. In this game, it's tab, it's your kill feed on the top right. And you need to, the second that frag turns, you need to instantly turn around and do whatever you need to do. So, you know, for IT pushing out, they had number advantage, and then the second they lost Banny, Mixup was like, let's go, and TLR turns the frags there, and then IT was on the back foot, and then IT got some frags there, and then it didn't, and then Mixup, and they just came in, and oh man, that was awesome. Can't even explain that situation, it was so cool. And Squid gets 2K, TLR got like a 3K there, and Mixup come out on top. So they have the Uber advantage, they have this point, they're going to leave some people to cap it, they're going to roll on through. And Harblue doesn't have Uber quite yet, so on this push from Mixup, what you're going to see is a very tentative yet wholehearted approach to this push. Not wholehearted, just very committed. They want to commit to this fight because they know they're going to win it. It's 6-on-4, they have this one in the bag. The enemy team doesn't have buffs, and Mixup does have buffs. So buffs beat non-buffs, numbers beat no numbers, Uber advantage beats non-Uber. And what is going to happen right here is whenever you're getting close to Uber, you want to fight the enemy team. You want to get as close as you can without actually fighting them, because if you engage them before you get the Uber, it's still a even number, even health fight, for example. So let's say it's 4-on-4, right? if you don't have Uber, I mean, if you have advantage, that's nice, but you don't have the Uber yet, so it's still 4-on-4. But the second you get the Uber, you want to be able to turn in and get the fight started. So you're going to see Mixup trying to go in for this engage, and then they're going to not fully commit to this until Harblu gets the Uber. You can see they're just creating space right now. They're just zoning them out. They're keeping them behind the point. They're getting damage in on them while they can before Indus gets the Uber, but none of the players are committing to this except for the roamer, TLR, who has good health. Now that they got the Uber, now they're going to fully commit themselves to this fight. Harblu's going to take in TLR. Platinum turns a frag onto Benny in the lobby. They're coming in now, bringing all their players in on this. TLR's going to turn a second frag onto Shrugger underneath. The Heavy's out, but it doesn't even matter. 6-on-4. Soldier in on the other Soldier. Lansky's in a ton of trouble top left. Zaylock's in trouble here too. Heavy's going to be fighting with no heals at all. Capture time on the point. A beautiful push there by Mixup. And that's going to be that round. Ooh, beans. So, I know what you guys are thinking. Close match, good Ubers, you know, really nicely played by Mixup. Both teams have had hard times pushing last with Uber advantage, but right there, very clear advantage. They take down Indus, you get in there, there's no chance for Zaylox to put up a trap, so you can just, you know, work with that space. Just try and deny those crit heals, or don't let them get buffs, basically, as much as you can. Put them out of position, get in there, and then as soon as that Uber pops, you take it in. So now in this next round, it's an extremely close match. The score is 3-4. Mixup are down 1 round, and they need 1 round to tie this up. So they're going to be playing their hearts out here to try and tie this baby up here. And there's 5 minutes and 40 seconds left in this half, so not a lot of time left. My voice is getting a little bit hoarse. I wish I had some. Okay. Oh, I just found some water. I found the water. That's the tastiest cup of water I've had in a while. Alright. So, Zaylox doing what he's been doing every single time, which is come out lower, and Seagull decides to mix it up and go lower this time. So he's basically metagaming Zaylox, right? Zaylox is throwing tons of stickies top right, thinking that's where Seagull's going to come out. That's where he came out the last 3-4 times. And he's going to waste damage potential on that side. Meanwhile, Seagull's going to put stickies on the top right to try and zone out Lansky, who he's seen come out that side every single time. Mixup has huge positional advantage here. You can see them. TLR on the high ground, shooting downward at Zaylox, shooting downward at who's down to 4 health, by the way, and shooting downward at RR, who's on the low ground right now. And in addition to that, his scout on the top left has that's going to be Squid, has huge positional advantage over the enemy scouts. Banny's playing far back. He's basically playing in a passive way, saying, I'm going to give you point presence in exchange for height advantage. And Shrugger is not in this fight. So basically the scouts for Mixup have positional advantage as well. With Squid being on the high ground, they're able to shoot down soldiers. So when Zaylox goes down, Squid could actually potentially engage with RR on that left side. Platinum putting good damage onto him as well. And this is just looking very, very bad for IT. They're down a soldier. Shrugger's super lit. Their soldiers are in bad position. They're not playing with the heals. Harblu, meanwhile, is in a fantastic spot, close to the point, on the low ground, away from the soldiers, healing 2 potential targets, the scout or the demo, whichever one's more hurt. Seagull's at 260, so he can just put the heals on the scouts, push his way across the point there. It's looking very good for Mixup. TLR getting huge damage onto Lansky on the top right side. Scouts diving in to finish that one off there. The bomb out of desperation from RR is going to do nothing here to TLR, who takes him out easily. And now IT's down 3 players. Just an excellent mid there from Mixup, who are even sacrificing a player, Enigma, who tried to go for some sort of Indus play. Didn't get it to go. It doesn't even matter though, because it's 5-on-3. So when they leave a scout on, again, this is really key that you guys recognize this. Uh-oh. When they leave a scout on the middle point, it's going to be a 4-on-3. Remember that. So many teams forget that when you're pushing forward. They think, okay, you know, it's 4-on-3, let's do the push. You gotta remember that it's 3-on-3 when you leave a scout on there. In this situation, 5-on-3, leave a scout there, still 4-on-3, so just keep rolling it as fast as you can. And whenever you have number advantage, you can always sacrifice a player. You don't want to do it when you're on offense. When you're on defense, you typically tend to sacrifice players more, but still, when you're pushing 4-on-3, you need to play as if you have that number advantage, try and get those picks down, or sacrifice a player for that Uber. You're going to see them begin pushing into lobby here. 4-on-3. Scout might get caught out here. You see Shrugger in a bad spot underneath the point. I don't think Seagull sees him quite yet. Yeah, Seagull spots him out, and that's going to trap Shrugger into this fight. He's going to try and duck out lower. So much damage onto Shrugger. And because they've hurt Shrugger so much, you can consider him as a dead player. This is another, at this level of the game, you need to think about every little piece, right? The scout that you're leaving back on mid, the health of your players, the way the enemy's team is retreating. Indus is bailed out. He can't heal his scouts, so Shrugger down to 18 health means that he can't fight. You can count him as a player down. So in this scenario right here, it looks like 5-on-4, but it's not 5-on-4 at all. You leave a player on your mid, so he's a little bit late. He's going to be caught up here, so you count him as a half player, I would say. He's a respawner. So you're looking at 4.5 players versus Shrugger is basically dead. So that's 3.5 players. So you're up a full man. You got to keep rolling that through. You see them getting capture time on second point. Platinum, again, moving up here and creating space for his team, realizing he doesn't want to go down the deep right side. He wants to go left to prevent the enemy team from pushing this second point. And they're also going to wait for Enigma, because if they push the 5-on-6 in this situation, it's not going to be that favorable to them, because Enigma is so far away from fighting. You gotta factor in the spawn time for Enigma, but also the time that it takes for him to actually walk to the second point and catch up to the fight here. So if they actually engaged a fight in this moment, they would be out of Enigma for 10 seconds. So they can take the lobby, but they probably should not push this until Enigma gets here. If they go for this, I'll be okay. Now that Enigma has essentially caught up, yeah, he's basically caught up, so they're gonna go for this. And you can see Banny switching to Scout. Maybe he's switching to Heavy. I don't know what he's switching over to. Oh, he switched from Heavy to... No. Okay, Shrugger's on Heavy. Okay. So we see Shrugger Heavy on the right side, Zealous on the left side. And this is a pretty decent setup from IT. I like that RR is over here on the high ground, so he can shoot down at this left side at the unhealed flank. He can also have an angle there on main to try and get the early force. Zalix is a trap there, pretty solid. Lansky full buff, and also using the buff banner, if you can see that on his back. Right here, he's got the buff banner. He's shooting the right side to help the spam, but he's also watching the left side. His main job is to watch the left side. Shrugger's job is to watch the right side. So what Mixup is going to try and do on this push is go for an even Uber play or go for a sacrifice play, either one. You can either sacrifice a roamer like what IT likes to do, which is sacrifice RR and try and get an Uber force and then wait for the respawn, or you can take an even Uber play. The dangerous part about an even Uber into a heavy is the heavy can juggle you up in the air. Hitscan is very good at that, and so he might get juggled up, and then that's going to basically guarantee Indust a better Uber. So let's see how this actually turns out. Looks like they're just going to go for the simple roamer sacrifice play, and Indust sees this one coming. Oh no! Indus sees it coming and forces his Uber. Oh, that's just the worst thing that could have happened right there. Huge play from TLR. I mean, he just bombed out that side, off of the wall, came around and avoided the heavy, avoided Lansky, and there were no scouts there to deny him out of the air. Plus, Indus, I don't think he saw it coming. He was watching the right side, expecting the bomb, the Uber push to come out the right side, and TLR just wraps on the left, catches him, and juggles him up into the wall, and that's what really forces that Uber. So, really nice job by TLR. Platinum's probably going to go down here, but it doesn't even matter that they're down 2 players, because all Mixup has to do is stall this out. Whoops. God, that keeps happening to me. Oh, you know what it is? I'm pausing the game as I'm moving. I'll gotta keep that in mind. Okay, so what's happening here is that this Uber is all the way back on the last point. So it has no chance to catch all the way through the lobby. What's nice on Metalworks is that that lobby is so large and so congested. It's very difficult to rocket jump, sticky jump in that lobby. It's so tight. And so the best thing you can do is probably run a scout through it. And the scout's one of the weaker Ubers that you can do. Most teams prefer to do the pocket soldier Uber, or maybe the worst case scenario, demo Uber, but demo is also pretty bad. So when you're Ubering this far back and you're multiing this much, your Uber is not going to catch up to Mixup in time, but you still can do the 6-on-4 push. But as long as Seagull has traps up, as long as Enigma and Squid are just pressuring as much as they can, IT cannot successfully do this push. And if they overcommit, the Uber is going to come in from hard blue and turn a lot of frags. So let's watch how IT does this. It's a very delicate push that they're going to do here. Lansky's going to try and take ground. Again, Seagull putting traps here. He doesn't want Lansky to push this. And I think that they just sacrificed there. I missed it. Sorry. I would rewind it, but I'm not going to because I'm lazy. It looks like Zalox, RR, and Banny all sacrificed themselves for this force. So, they sacrifice for this force. They get the force on Heart Blue, but at what cost? Zalox, Banny, and RR are all down for 15 seconds. And that's 15 seconds of a 4-on-3 for Mixup. Plus the respawners coming in from TLR Platinum. But as you can see here, again, that second forward spawn is so far away from last point that by the time they get that fight started, they're not going to be there. So just kind of as a 4-on-3 for about 15 seconds. Here we go. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. You need to get there. 10 seconds on the clock. 8 seconds on the clock here. They're getting their way in towards main. And this is where IT are holding. They expecting that push to come out the left side. They predicted incorrectly. And this is dangerous for them because they didn't slow down the enemy team at all. The only thing they have going for them is Lansky has a chance of getting this buff banner in time, I think. Is he still on buff banner? Yeah, he might get this buff banner in time. Lansky realizes he's in the wrong position, bombs towards the left side to get some damage in here and try and slow down these scouts. Soldier, if you can get good damage on the scouts, you know, pretty solid. And Lansky, and not many of you guys know this, but Lansky used to play roaming soldier for Classic Mixup a couple seasons ago, and they placed second at LAN. Fun fact. So Lansky over here, you know, does his little roamer job, right? He's taking so much damage though. I mean, look at him down to 42 health. Seagull's just punishing the shit out of him. And that's going to allow the 2-on-1 scout play on point. Plus, they're not getting healed. So Squid, it has a buff. He's going to just push right into him. Shrugger has 100% health. And Enigma is hurt. So Enigma's going to fall back and let Squid take some of this damage here. But they're just going to shove into Shrugger. Shrugger's going to go down 2-on-1 easy. And Lansky's so hurt, he has to contest this. He doesn't have a choice. And Mixup. Turn that around. So... looks like we got a game here, boys. Yeah, we got ourselves a little bit of 4-on-4, 4-to-4. I thought that IT had this match in the bag because they're up 4-2 with 11 minutes left to go, but really solid job by them, by Mixup to win the mids. I think they adjusted their mids properly, and I think IT played the mids a little bit too passively. They played it like they didn't want to lose rather than playing to win it. And you know, Mixup were able to take advantage of that, take the positional advantage, turn the frags, keep it rolling. And now we have just a couple minutes left in the final round of this regular time, and then we'll probably go see an overtime. So 4 minutes left. That was a 1 and 27-second round that I made last 10 minutes for me. Okay, let's see this. So looks like Seagull coming out the lower because it worked for him last time. And Zalox, it didn't work for him coming out lower last time, so he's going to change and come out top left. Early sticky. That's the problem with going lower and grabbing the health pack, is that puts Seagull so late that Zalox is actually able to zone him out. So it's this pretty dicey situation here for Seagull, who can't get into this fight quite yet. And look at Zalox. He's able to use that height to get early damage onto TLR. TLR is in such bad shape now. He got hit by 2 stickies. That's just terrible. So, I mean, you might even consider Mix to be half a player down at this point. Because not only did TLR use a rocket or two getting in there, but he's down 150 health. That's a huge play by Zalox. And he has positional advantage over Seagull. The only thing that Seagull has going for him is the 70 health advantage over Zalox, which doesn't even matter right now because Indus is about to arrive to the fight and heal Zalox instantly. So Zalox doing tons of damage onto TLR, bringing him so low. And RR is going to go for the distraction bomb high up in the air. And that's what that forces Mixup to do one of two things. They can either retreat back in this direction over to the yard and welcome him and wait for him to land. When RR is so high like this, you cannot hit that air shot. It's just not going to happen. You can use hit scan to get a little bit of damage onto him, but it, you know, 50 damage worth of hit scan is not going to do anything to a 250 health soldier. So he is un-air shotable at this point. So Mixup only have 2 ways to react to this. They can either back up into the yard, and that's why Bandy was playing on the shack here. Back up into yard and shoot at that guy, or they can push forward and ignore him and then leave him behind. and then just push forward with numbers. Because technically, with this guy up in the air as it is, you could push into a 6-on-5 in front of you, or you can back up and keep everyone else in front of you. If you back up and keep everyone else in front of you, that's kind of what you're kind of playing into RR's game. What RR is thinking is, if I jump high like this, I either force you to fight me by backing up and giving up position, or you can ignore me and push forward and I'm going to do a ton of damage to you. So it's a really tough decision from Mixup's perspective, because you see the soldier high in the air and you can't really do any damage to him. You have to wait for him to land, and that 3 to 4 seconds of the high bomb, right, getting a lot of air time, is gonna distract the enemy team a lot. And with the health advantage that they already got by killing TLR, TLR can't do the same thing to you. So you're basically in a number advantage situation here. Oops, as I unpause the game and watch as RR just shits on everyone, taking down Squid. Platinum is forced to do a little bomb. RR hits a huge air shot onto him. Oh my god, that was just nasty. And IT have the number advantage here to continue pushing on TLR, who's been hurt this entire mid-fight. TLR is gonna crater. IT have this mid in the bag. Sugar's gonna turn around for the capture, and Banny and Lansky and Zalox are gonna continue pushing their way through. A really solid mid by IT. I love the way that Zalox played the initial part of it, and again, you know, I do put a lot of focus on the early Demoman versus Demoman fight, but it's a key part of this game, because there's only 2 different directions that the Demoman can come out. You can come out lower, or you can come out upper. You have a 50-50 chance of hitting your first 2 stickies on that. You either hit him or you don't hit him. It's very black and white, and when you don't hit him, it's tough. Like, Seagull was playing, he was slow on the rollout, and Zalox zoned him out there and then was able to punish TLR off of that positional advantage. Just that play alone won IT mid. Now obviously RR went huge with the huge bomb and the air shot on the Platinum and the oh my god, whoa air shot thing, but besides that, you know, just really solid opening play there by Zalox on the demo. So in this scenario, if IT does this correctly, they can continue rolling their number advantage into 2 things, either more frags or a Uber Force onto Harblue. And Harblue knows this, so he's going to back his ass up super fast. And IT are going to continue rolling their way in towards second point. And Mixup have completely vacated the premises. Elvis has left the building. And Chugger is going to begin putting some cap time here.
Control point.
And you can see that IT technically only have 4 players against Mixup's 5 players, so they cannot do this push. You can see the players are just super far back there. Actually, that's RR waiting for forward spawn. He's coming back as a heavy, so IT are just going to take the lobby and go for this heavy push. Now, heavy is actually kind of an interesting last push, because what it's designed for is not to lead the push. Heavy is super slow. You know, he's not a good gap closer. He just can't open the fight up. And you'll find that if you play Highlander as well. What Heavy is really good at is the aftermath. After the Ubers come off, you have like this slow-moving sentry that just walks towards you, and he has so much health that you either have to focus fire him, which is a distraction in and of itself, right? The Heavy distracts you from the other players who are killing you, because you have to focus fire it down, or you ignore it and the Heavy is just like slowly moving towards you and just killing everything, and that's equally dangerous. It's tough to deal with a Heavy on that push. Now Squid is, fortunately for them, unbeknownst to him, he doesn't know that they have a Heavy yet, but he is running Sniper, which is the counter to Heavy. That's kind of nice. Enigma also putting up a sentry. That's also very strong defense on last point, and unlike IT when they tried to do it, he's actually setting up the sentry in a timely manner, so that's actually decent. IT, even Ubers, this is their round. There were only 4 minutes left in this half, so you know, IT can essentially park the bus, let the time run out, and make it such that Mixup has no chance of getting to the enemy last point. It's already 3.5 minutes in, so 3.5 minutes left in the half. So as long as they can stall it out for another 30 seconds, that pretty much makes it impossible for Mixup to push all the way to the enemy team last. So even if you go for a push and fail, it won't matter, and it'll just trigger overtime, because the score is 4-4 right now. So IT just chilling out here. That's probably one of the reasons why they're running this Heavy, because they need this push to either go and work or fail. So here they go on the push. They're bringing in the Demo Man to try and take down the sentry. They take down the sentry, but at what cost? Enigma's engineer play works once again, and Harblu has full Uber. Enigma can switch over to Scout, risk-free, and this is just a solid last defense there by Mixup. Unfortunately for Mixup, they can't even push. You know, if they push out and they fail to push, then IT could potentially push last with Uber and win the round, so they're just gonna park it and reset. And you can see Enigma just putting the sentry back up, and that's part of the round metagaming that you'll see going on there. It's you know, if the time limit wasn't a factor, they would push, but because it is a factor, they're just gonna keep it even Ubers. Because what IT could potentially do here is force the Uber, back off, and then give Indus 30% Uber advantage, and 2.5 minutes is plenty of time to get up an Uber and push last. So really not worth the risk for Mixup. So bore, so much bore. Much bore. So sentry. Okay, anyways, I'm not good with memes. So just gonna, yeah, let's really just fast forward this, because this is gonna be boring. And here comes IT with this Uber push. Again, early Uber force, nicely done by Mixup, forcing it super early. They can afford to let that sentry go down. They don't care about the sentry at all. The sentry covers the point, in addition to Enigma just whacking away at it, and they haven't popped Uber yet. This is just an incredible defense there by Mixup, not having to use their Uber at all. They only lose the roamer, and they're just gonna stalemate it out. It's the glory of what is Metalworks last. It's such a beautiful last point. That's just such a bitch to push. And I'm just gonna fast forward this because we all know how this ends. Or do we? Uber comes in, sentry juggles him up in the air, and they take down the sentry gun. The better Uber coming in from Seagull, and Demo Uber is one of the weakest Ubers in the game because he has a very tough time closing gaps and also chasing down players, but they bring in Platinum for that finisher. I love that on the Zalox. That's going to create that number advantage and a demo man advantage at that for Mixup. So they should be able to hold this push off here as the timer ticks down. Mixup, just a few more seconds of stalling before the round is going to hopefully end, and we can see overtime as Squid just sitting there on last point is heavy, making sure they can't do anything, and good halves are called, and let's just fast forward this. Is this what you wanted, viewers? I hope you're happy, says Harblu. Okay. So yeah. I enjoyed watching that second half. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it too. And just check. Talking for a long time. It's only one more round though, right? We gotta see the conclusion of this match. Gotta see who wins. Well, I have one prediction though. I predict that the match will end in 5-4. Ooh. Yeah, I'm notorious for having really crappy predictions. Not just that one, like legitimately bad predictions. Like, no, come. That one will come true every time. No, just fast forwarding past the halftime here. Okay, everyone's ready. There's not much time left in this match, as you can see from the demo. And the mid rollout. Okay, so what we're seeing is interestingly a repeat of the last mid, and I find that to be extremely questionable, because if you're Mixup, I mean, they lost that mid pretty convincingly. Maybe they thought, oh well, if Platinum's thinking like, oh man, if I don't get air shot again, the only reason they won that mid is because of the air shot. Maybe. Okay, but if you're Seagull, I mean, he was slow last mid and he got zoned out completely. He had no impact on the initial part of the mid fight, and here he is repeating the same thing, coming out lower, getting zoned out by Zalox, who's coming out top right, and it's just a repeat of the last mid that we just saw. Except this time, Seagull actually breaks his way through with cannonballs. That's interesting, and makes his way out. You can see TLR taking the top right crate away from the enemy team and shooting down, and this is really different actually. Mixup is looking pretty good. This is not what I expected to see. Zalox didn't have quite the impact as he had last time, and RR is not going to be able to do his high bomb as easily, because as you can see from the positioning of it, the soldiers are coming out this top right side, and TLR is in a perfect position to lock them out. Plus, You can see Seagull migrating to the right can easily lock out this top right side. And they just have one scout on the left just to make sure a soldier doesn't come out that bottom left side, and also makes it difficult for Bandy to get into this fight. So makes it actually decent positioning here, and Seagull turns a frag with the cannonballs, hilariously enough. RR goes for the same high bomb as last time, because if it worked once, why not try it again? But Platinum sees this coming, and again, remember I told you that if you have the high bomb coming in for you, you can either do one of two things. You can either back up and intercept him when he lands, or you can push past and ignore him. And in this case, Seagull gets the early pick onto Shrugger, and 6 on 5, you're going to go for that push because RR high in the sky is a distraction, yes, but also you're not jumping directly onto any player, so you really can't do any direct damage for those 3 to 4 seconds that you're in the air. All you're doing is forcing a decision point by the enemy team. So it's kind of a 6 on 4 when Mixup pushes across like this, and once RR lands, they can turn around and kill him in a 6 on 1. Does that make sense? So you push forward as a 6 on 4, you turn around as a 6 on 1. And luckily, look at me, I got a home wrecker. Yay. Alright. Let's keep this going here. So you can see Platinum just dives in, forces Indust out of this fight. Indust cannot help him at all, and also separates the heals from the rest of his team. RR bombs in. He's actually going to get a decent bomb here on the 2 to 3 players. That's what we're looking for when you're playing Roamer. And he splits up the enemy team. So this is actually pretty nice by RR. He actually turns a frag here onto Squid, it looks like, and Platinum is going to go down on that top right side. So, you know, that high bomb from RR, again, doing work. Now it looks like RR again going for another bomb to try and take out the scout, who's being very pesky. And Harblue is completely separated from his team. He's somewhat hurt, down to 100 health. And all of his teammates are extremely hurt. It's generally considered good by medics to try and heal the person in front who's taking damage, but TLR is at 3 health, and you gotta remember that the medic heals, I mean, you may or may not know this, but the medic heals at a flat rate. He doesn't heal at like 10% of your health every second. He heals at a flat rate of 24 health per second. So to get TLR out of one-shot range, you have to heal him for 3 seconds straight to get him to 100 health. And even at 100 health, it's very, very easy for the enemy team to focus fire him down. So it's not even worth Harblue's time in this situation to drop down and try and heal TLR, because that would put him in a dangerous situation. He only has 2 choices. He can back out top left, or he can heal Seagull on his way out. He's going to go for the heal TLR. I don't know about this. TLR is going to die, and Harblue's going to back out, and Seagull has to sacrifice himself because of Harblue's choice to drop down there. So rather than getting out with both Seagull and Harblue alive, now Harblue's in a situation where he might get caught out by this W-wing scout, and this is looking dangerous for him because here comes the Banny onto the Harblue. No, Harblue goes down. No, why did he stay in? And that's not looking good there for Mixup. Looking great for IT though, who won themselves that second mid in a row. Yeah, literally we just saw 2 mids in a row. It was like Seagull goes lower, and then RR high bomb into win. So there's that. So the only choice that Mixup has at this point is to try and force the Uber on second point, or as soon as possible, essentially. Luckily for them on Metalworks, they have a lot of space in the lobby to try and get that force, and they fight that all the way back to last, and then fight a 6 on 6. That's what they're going for right here. So you can see that they're on the point, you know, try to go for this cap, and meanwhile IT are going to try and heal up and maybe get some spam down, try and slow them down just a little bit. They realize, Mixup, he's going to try and slow them down a little bit. They realize that they're not going to be able to get Harblue's Uber in time. It's going to take him another 30 seconds to get Uber. So there's just no way that it's going to take 30 seconds for IT to do this push. So this is looking really, really bad for Mixup. They got that sentry up that's worked so well for them in the past though, and here comes Lansky and Zalox down that left side, and this is going to be, you know, pretty decent Uber here. They got good damage on the TLR. Not the best damage on the TLR actually. TLR kind of skipped out at 230, so he's looking pretty decent. They get the sentry down, and the heavy is still 450 behind the point. So actually Mixup has a pretty decent setup. They exchanged 50% of the Uber for 50 health on TLR and a sentry. That's a pretty decent exchange actually. They just need to kite it over to this far side, and they might make it out of here alive. Let's see how this actually plays out as they push towards the point. Again, why do I keep singing again? I'm gonna stop singing again, I swear. I swear I will stop saying again, and I also will switch immediately back to the game because the heavy sound is extremely annoying. But Seagull knows that the enemy team is trying to migrate and kite over here, so he's going to throw stickies over here. I thought that was a very smart move. The focus fire from Mixup down to... sorry, did I say Seagull? I meant Zalox. On to Zalox. I'm getting my colors mixed up. And Zalox Banny going down. A great collapse here from Squid onto the point, taking down Trigger, and Mixup pulled that one off. So, nice job there from Mixup. I think it really comes down to that sentry. That Enigma sentry is so good, and also the rockets that are being thrown in on that high ground from TLR at the beginning of that Uber are just. And he just kites it away easily. So
Our control point is being
now
captured.
Mixup beginning to capture the second point, and they know they can do this very easily because Zalox is dead, and also they have a 2-minute advantage. RR bombs in for Harblu. Harblu though, down to 11 health, gets taken out. That was a really sly heads-up play by RR. And now IT can just come back in with the heals, as long as they don't lose too many numbers here. Manny walks his way out of the... he's probably going to die here. Yeah, Enigma takes him down. Lansky, meanwhile, bombed onto the point and got a decent frag onto TLR. Keeps that number advantage going for IT. They're going to capture this point back easily. And if you look at the scenario, it's going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4 man alive for IT. And the nice part here is that they're all grouped up together, relatively, compared to the 1, 2, right? And then the third player is over here for Mixup. So you have not only superior numbers, but you also have superior positioning coming in from his team, who are all grouped together. The only choice that Enigma has here is to get the health pack and then try and delay the forward spawners, or to come back in and get a sacrifice play on the Indus, because he's gonna roll in with Uber in about 15 seconds or so. So Enigma's in quite possibly the worst position ever. And they know this. IT knows this, so they're just not even gonna bother trying to kill him. They're just gonna roll it into last with this Uber advantage and try and win the game right here. 4 on 3 as we're seeing this Uber come in. That sentry from Enigma is not level 3. It's not gonna be quite as effective as it was last time. They did get a lot of flashing in from IT, but his numbers are pretty good. Indus gonna put himself on the point to get some flashing onto Sugar, who's turning frags. He's looking really good for IT, and that's going to be the round right there. Okay. So, a couple things. One, I really like the way that both teams played. I saw some really nice points. Some really nice last defense holds by both teams. IT held off the Mixup pushes multiple times. Mixup held incredible holds against IT when IT had clear advantages. If you go back to the first part, you'll see situations where you think that IT should have easily won the round, and Mixup held that off. And really excellent holds, especially in that last round there too. Enigma Central. So I really like that. I really like the mid fights that were going on. I saw a good exchange from both teams. Mixup repeated one of their mids, and I think they lost in that last mid. It seemed like whatever team was winning mid was having a huge advantage in the round. Just the way that Metalworks plays is a little bit slower. And good team fights, good Ubers as you would expect from both teams. Yeah, I think it's a close match. It was 2-2 at the half, 2-1 at the half. Mixup brought it back. Alright. Yeah, 2-1. I just remember it was 2-1 and then it was 4-4 and then 5-4. So close match all the way through. Yeah. I hope that you guys like that. Again, this was SLIN After Dark. Let me know if you like the name or not. I'm not quite sure I like it either. It sounds too sexual. But I have all the artwork made for it already, in case you guys are wondering. And I keep saying again which is a problem, so I'm gonna work on that. And I like the top-down view, demo reviews. A little bit more interesting. I'm gonna keep doing the POVs because I think that that's another interesting thing to throw in there and spice it up. But just in terms of watching the general team strategy, I find it to be really top-down. But yeah, we'll try and do a little bit of both. Let me know what you think. Hope you had fun watching this video. Gonna go to sleep. Hey, it's me again. Did you miss me? Hey, I want to make sure that I remind you guys to like the video, first of all, but second of all, put a comment in the comment box below. I'm dying for feedback from you guys. I want to know, do you like the videos? Do you not like the videos? Do you like what I'm talking about? Is it too advanced? Is it too basic, too boring? What classes do you like watching? What classes do you not like watching? Do you want to watch Sixes? Do you want to watch Highlander? Do you want to see my face on the screen? These are just questions I just can't answer by watching my own videos, and I need your feedback. So be sure to let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.